Let food be or medicine, food supplements and their purpose. In the 23 years with Vision, we've witnessed how dietary supplements have gone from an unknown phenomenon to becoming a part of the daily ritual of every person who cares about their health. Production and circulation of food supplements, aka nutraceuticals or dietary supplements, in the recent years in all economically developed countries has become one of most dynamically developing sectors of the economy and trade, improving people's quality of life. The fundamental scientific basis for the development of this new direction of nutrition science was provided by the results of large-scale epidemiological studies that have revealed, on the one hand, significant changes in the structure of nutrition of economically developed states' population, and, on the other hand, demonstrated the important role of biologically active food components that were not previously taken into account in human nutrition. Minor biologically active food substances with an established physiological effect, natural food substances with an established chemical structure, are present in food in milligrams and micrograms, and they play an important and established role in the adaptive reactions of the body and health maintenance. Epidemiological studies have also found that by the beginning of the 21st century, the structure and quality of nutrition of the economically developed countries' population have changed significantly, and, as a result, scientific and technological progress significantly reduced human energy consumption, from 3,000 to 3,500 kilocalories per day in the middle of the 20th century to 1,900 to 2,100 kilocalories per day at present. Such a sharp decrease in energy consumption led to the same sharp drop in the amount of food consumed and, consequently, a decrease in its role as the main source of micronutrients and the diet's minor biologically active components. The industrialization of agricultural production and the expansion of human consumption of industrially produced food have definitely made a significant contribution to the decline in food quality. However, with all this, the human need for vital, indispensable in nutrition, food and biologically active substances has changed insignificantly, since it is determined by the evolution of human development and is preset at the genetic level. The resulting fork was the objective reason why modern people often cannot even theoretically obtain a sufficient amount of the required micronutrients and biologically active substances within adequate dietary value from regular natural products. This has led to a decrease in the body's resistance to adverse environmental factors, the emergence of immunodeficiency conditions, disruption of the functions of the antioxidant defense system, an increase in the risk of numerous diseases, including oncological, a decrease in the effectiveness of therapeutic measures and the quality of life in general. Since it's impossible to solve the problem of improving nutrition quality in a traditional way, the need arose to search for alternative sources of the lacking nutritive compounds and develop methods for their use in everyday human nutrition. The development of the pharmaceutical industry. The introduction of modern technologies for processing plant and other natural raw materials to obtain exceptionally pure biologically active compounds and their complexes allowed to produce unlimited quantities of biologically active components of food that are required to improve food quality. This is how dietary supplements came about. Biologically active food supplements are compositions of natural, or identical to natural, biologically active substances intended for direct intake with food or incorporation into food products. Their purpose is to enrich the diet with specific dietary ingredients or biologically active substances and their complexes. The use of such sources is certainly justified from both an economic and scientific point of view, since the content of biologically active substances in them is often tens and hundreds of times higher than in traditional foodstuffs. Food supplements are not drugs intended for the treatment or diagnosis of human diseases. Unlike medicines that include biologically active substances for therapeutic purposes and in doses that are usually tens or hundreds of times higher than the physiological needs of a healthy person, and introduced into the body per os by mouth, and parenterally, intramuscularly, intravenously. Dietary supplements are used to fill the deficit of these substances in diets in quantities that are equal to a daily dose that covers a person's physiological needs, and apply only per os with food with meals. The effects of dietary supplements occur, first and foremost, through launching the universal mechanisms of the body's adaptive reactions to the effects of external and internal factors of a very different nature. At the same time, quantitative changes in the parameters of bodily systems' functions are within their physiological boundaries. That is, we have unequivocally established that dietary supplements are food, not medicine. Legislation on dietary supplements in different countries, Russia and the Customs Union countries, according to the technical guidelines of the Customs Union 021-2011 on food safety. Dietary supplements are classified as specialized food products, and the only document that allows their sale on the market is a Certificate of State Registration of Dietary Supplements, State Hygienic Registration for Dietary Supplements. Registration of dietary supplements is carried out in authorized bodies in each country. On dietary supplements, a certificate of registration is issued only on the basis of test reports and expert opinion. According to technical guidelines of the Customs Union 021-2011, the only regulatory document is a certificate of registration of dietary supplements. Europe, according to the EU General Food Regulations (EU) No. 178/2002, food additives are considered food products. The EU reference legislation on food additives is Directive 2002/46/EC, which establishes approved lists of vitamins and minerals used in the production of food additives and labeling requirements for these products. Vietnam, according to Decrees 15/2018, NDCP 43/2014, TTBYT and 05/2018, TTBYT, which regulate food circulation in Vietnam, and the Competent Authority for Nutritional Supplements and a Healthy Food in Vietnam, Vietnam Food Authority (VFA), under the Ministry of Health (MOH). Nutritional supplements are considered food and are an additional source of nutrients and vitamins for the body, thus, they need to get registration from VFA as foodstuffs. USA, in accordance with the 1994 Health and Nutrition Supplementation Act, the FDA regulates nutritional supplements as food, not medicine. Therefore, dietary supplements are defined as a type of food in accordance with the law. What are the steps involved in the registration of dietary supplements? State registration of dietary supplements is a confirmation of the compliance of the quality and safety of dietary supplements with sanitary legislation in this sphere. State registration of dietary supplements is preceded by a sanitary, epidemiological examination, which is carried out by authorized organizations. Sanitary and epidemiological examination is carried out to determine compliance with current legislative acts and regulatory requirements for the supplement's quality and safety, and includes the following procedures: initial expert assessment of documents and materials characterizing the given products, determination of the amount of required studies of dietary supplements, carrying out a set of required sanitary chemical, sanitary, microbiological and other types of studies and evaluating their results to confirm safety and authenticity of the product's components. amount of active substances, experimental studies of toxicological, physiological and metabolic effects to confirm safety and claimed effectiveness of dietary supplements. Comprehensive expert assessment of the results, with regard to the data obtained during research, preparation and execution of an expert conclusion, including draft product label. Their approval in the organization conducting sanitary and epidemiological expertise, followed by the sending of expert opinion and draft labels to the authorized bodies for the recording of the registration document in the prescribed manner. All studies of dietary supplements are carried out in institutions and laboratories accredited for specific types of work in the established order. There are extremely important issues in the state registration of dietary supplements related to putting information on the label in the Indications for Use column. In accordance with the legislation in force in the Russian Federation, SANPI N2.3.2.1290003, hygienic requirements for the organization of production and turnover of biologically active food additives, only information about the source of the substances that this dietary supplement contains is recorded in this column. If it contains food substances and micronutrients, then it is noted that dietary supplements are an additional source of, for example, specific vitamins or mineral substances. If the dietary supplement contains only plant components, then in this column it is noted that the dietary supplement is the source of, for example, arbutin, quercetin and others. Information about any medical effects of dietary supplements is prohibited in this column. Supplements and clinical trials. According to modern legislation, foodstuffs do not require clinical research. Nevertheless, just as in many other things, Vision had set a precedent and the first and only to conduct large-scale clinical trials of our dietary supplements in Russia in 2004. 8 years after the appearance of Vision dietary supplements on the Russian market. Why was Vision virtually the only company to conduct clinical trials of its dietary supplements? Since dietary supplements are similar to food products, neither in Russia, nor in Europe, nor in Vietnam are there norms and standards for conducting clinical trials of dietary supplements. Therefore, clinical studies of dietary supplements are carried out according to the protocol approved for drugs. A clinical study is preceded by a preclinical study of the drug in the laboratory, including in animals. After preclinical studies, there are 3 main phases of the study of the drug in humans, which are interventional clinical studies. Finally, after the drug enters the market, the effect of the drug is monitored, unlimited in time. The 4th phase of the clinical study, the cost of conducting one stage of an average study in the United States, for example. From creating an initial protocol to completing the reports, according to last year, was $3.4 million for Phase 1C, $8.6 million for Phase 2 and $21.4 million for Phase 3. The cost of conducting clinical trials of drugs in Russia is similar, and sometimes even exceeds the price level in Europe and the USA, especially with regard to the current exchange rate. For any company, clinical studies of dietary supplements are an object of serious multi-million-dollar investment that must be justified. There is a second question, which is just as important. Before starting the study, the sponsoring company determines what will be the subject of this study. Typically, the task of a clinical trial is to find an answer to a medical question, for example, does drug A help patients with coronary heart disease? You know perfectly well without us that dietary supplements are drugs with a wide spectrum of action. No matter how hard we try, it is impossible to ask one such specific question. Antioxalone is recommended as a part of any program. It's great that by 2004 Vision had collected a huge amount of data about the products. and the company's specialists could at least outline an approximate range of such issues. In fact, there are more than just one or two of them for each product. Multiply the number of questions by the cost of each answer and you'll get the result of tens, if not hundreds of millions. And if you recall 1996-1997, product results sounded something like this. I was taking all the products from the multiclass A and got this result. And at the same time, each person had his own result. Someone had a headache, another, chronic sinusitis. And still another person was able to give birth to a long-awaited child, all using one product. And that's perfectly normal. That's how it should be. After all, this is food. The classic line of dietary vision supplements that contains the required set of biologically active substances that the body needs daily. It was conceived and developed this way, one set for one person for 1 month. Just give your cell what it needs, and our smart body will be able to solve the lion's share of its problems on its own. Nevertheless, today the Freedom Group is negotiating the clinical trials of BAA Classic HIT and Junior HIT Project V from the Trading Point Group, elite farm manufacturer with leading medical institutions in Russia, including RAMS Research Institute of Nutrition, the first session of MGMU, Clinical Department, RUDN, FMBA, Federal Biomedical Agency, of Russia, as well as others. We are absolutely confident that the new generation of Project V products, whose formulas have been reinforced compared to the previous ones, will prove their effectiveness in any tests. Just as their predecessors. On average, a clinical trial takes 1 to 2 years. And in anticipation of its results, our task is to purchase products, get results, preserve them and discuss them, generating a turnover that will allow us to develop as quickly as possible, enter new markets, produce new effective products, expand our partner networks and get great checks.